here we have a 2012 Ram 6.7 Cummins turbo diesel, and for the codes that we have written down, I don't really care about the speed control switches, the NOx, the P2 BAC. That's a secondary code from a primary issue, so we're going to focus on the P0171, which is the exhaust pressure sensor 1 performance. On these 6.7 Cummins, very, very, very common. The sensor isn't usually bad. So we're going to take it out and check it. It's usually this stand plugs up. And I'll show you how we fix it the easy way. Then you use a regular like oil pressure switch, or it's just one of those special sockets. And this one's pretty tight. So let's see. Look how full that is. Look stand, look how full. And then look down there, see how full that is? See all the crap falling out? So the way that I check these, I go start it up and see if there's any air coming out there. Which usually there's not. You're not going to hit that, so we'll try. So as you can see, there's nothing coming out. So let's clean that one. Okay, so you take this line off. Hopefully you can see over here. You guys a little over this way. So we're gonna pull this line off. This is a 12. You gotta undo this clip. Sometimes these lines are plugged up, so we'll find out if that's plugged up when we get this open. But we'll push that down. Now what I do is I take a drill. I have an angle drill, and I'm gonna drill that hole bigger. It's very, very small one. See how plugged up it is? See all that crap in there? Okay. So I'm gonna use this drill bit right here. Hopefully I can get in here. Should be good. So you just drill right through the center of it. You're gonna drill it bigger. This one's already been drilled bigger. Cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna blow it out, so watch your eyes. Go ahead, flow through there. Kinda a lot of crap in there. We grab a screwdriver, and then we're gonna blow the sensor out. These sensors can handle hundreds of PSI. I had one of these one time with a stuck turbo, and I went and test drove it, and this pressure sensor read like 120 PSI or something. I know it can handle it. Just want it clean. You don't want it doing this again. It's going to eventually, but try to at least get. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right, right? Right. Okay. So that looks clean. We're gonna go ahead and start it up, and I need to check and see if this tube is clear. So let me go start it real quick. So there, would you just put your thumb over there, make sure you're feeling pressure. There's not going to be a ton of volume or a ton of pressure right now, and that's okay. We're just going to put it back together and go drive it and make sure that it works. Because all it is a reference, it just monitors the pressure of the exhaust. Can you do me a favor? Can you take the trash out and dump that bucket for me? Well, thank you. Okay. Let's get back on this. Tighten this sucker up. I put a little WD on this reds because it was a little tough coming off. Just snug it up. Not He-Man, we don't have to make it. We don't have to torque it or nothing. Then we put these wires back on over here. These clips. Put the plastic clips right on the really nice hot exhaust tube. Good idea, Dodge. Cummins. Oh, there you go. Okay. Let's go drive it. Clear the codes, take a scanner, and drive it. So now let's clear the codes, and then we're gonna pull it up on here. It's gonna have circuitry codes for the exhaust back pressure sensor because I unhooked it, or exhaust pressure sensor, whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna shut off because on a Dodge you can't clear the codes while it's running for some reason. Speed control 1. So you can see the airbag lights on right there. So, well, I guess the clock spring's not broken, but something funky with those. I really don't care about those right now. We're more so focused on the engine. We'll let him know. Probably gonna have to take this stuff apart and ohm through the clock spring, or this switch could be bad on the steering wheel. But I just want to make sure that we fix the exhaust back pressure. And I'm gonna turn the air on because it's hot. Keep it down. So let's see if we can get exhaust pressure sensor reading, just to make sure. Exhaust. Yeah, exhaust pressure. Right there. And we got an increase. Okay, so let's go take it. I can actually drive this pig. And we're gonna get her done. Okay. So we want to make sure we have an increase. Yeah. I wonder why it's not cooling. It's on defrost. Smells good in here though. That's good. It's a nice little treat. And it's funny because, I guess it shouldn't be funny, but I get so many customers that bring their trucks in, especially these, and they'll change those sensors. But the problem is most people, they'll put the cheap sensors in there. They'll go on Amazon or go to AutoZone and put some you know, $50, $20 sensor in there. And those pressure sensors, I think they're $300. They're expensive. But they'll put the cheap ones in, then they'll bring it in. And then that, obviously, what you just saw me do, that's the first thing I check to make sure either the stand's usually plugged or the pipe can be plugged, you know. But they'll usually bring it in, we'll check it, and something will be plugged, so we'll go ahead and fix that all. I'll go drive it, and then the exhaust pressure sensor won't work because it's a cheap piece of junk part. And then they're like, oh, I threw the old one away, I don't know where it's at. So then now they're gonna have to pay for a brand new sensor, you know, and we tried to, like I said, use factory. You know, and now they just wasted, you know, $300-400 on a pressure sensor they didn't need. You know, all they had to do is bring it in. We could take a peek at it real quick and clean that out. And if it's a tube, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. Next time I get one in with the tube dirty, I'll record that for you guys. You just take the tube out, and usually I run a cable through it to try to clean it because it's quite a pain in the butt when it gets plugged up. But sometimes, if those stands get plugged up like they were, you will experience the pipe getting plugged up too. because it's got to build up somewhere, you know. So that's just how it is. But we will. This one looks good. We'll just make sure when we go back to no codes. As you can see, the exhaust pressure sensor is working. The performance code, it probably saw a little bit of movement, but I didn't see enough. That's generally what that code means. But I've seen them throw, I think it's a P0470 too. I think I've seen them throw circuit codes because it never sees it move. But you know, anytime you get something like that, that's the first thing you should check. To save yourself a boatload of money. But, yep. And I've even had the newer ones, because I don't know what year they switched over, but I know that they moved the pressure switch from the thermostat housing to the side of the EGR cooler. I've seen those pipes plug up. It's not nearly as common as these, but I've had a couple of them come in where they're plugged up. So, always check the basics first. We'll go back, make sure there's no codes, which I don't think there are. Only the speed control stuff, and we'll let him know about that if he wants us to diagnose that. You know, but that's more than likely going to be a issue in the clock spring or the squib, something like that. You know, just because we have the airbag light on too, and the speed control runs through the clock spring. We can actually scan the airbag and see real quick if it's going to be a more than likely a clock spring issue, because if it's got squib codes or codes for the driver's airbag, then we'll just check that real quick, just out of giggles. So we'll shut it off, start it up, try to get another cycle out of it. You can see the pressure sensor still working. We'll go back, and then we will go back. We're gonna go codes, speed control, performance, and circuit high. So that stuff we're well aware of. I wasn't attempting to fix those codes, we were just focusing mainly